Am I wrong if I leave my husband without first fully explaining why? First off, I'm sorry for the terrible title, but it's such a complicated ongoing situation that I couldn't figure out any way to phrase it more accurately without using 5 times the number of words. And apologies in advance for the length. I, a woman in my 50s, have been married to my husband, who is in his 60s, for more than 25 years now. In the beginning, it seemed great, but as I look back at things now, I feel certain that I had serious rose-tinted glasses on for most of it. To oversimplify it, I can't talk to him. I'm simply not allowed to. Now, he'll never actually tell me that explicitly, but literally every single time over the past several years that I've tried to have a serious conversation with him about anything that bothers me, even if it isn't explicitly about him, he will take it personally and immediately get angry and defensive. He won't let me finish any sentence that he thinks is heading in a direction he doesn't like. Heck, even if I'm criticizing someone else, if it's about a behavior that he also does, cue more loud yelling. He also gets angry with me if I simply try to keep my head down and go along. If something isn't worth arguing over to me, just going along isn't enough. I'm apparently supposed to be showing a certain amount of enthusiasm for his, often poor, choices and opinions, always. Then there's the fact that I realized he's never actually been in my corner. For example, when my mom died years ago, hubby was in between jobs, money was tight, so his best friend gave us money so we could afford flying to mom's funeral. Friend did this by making me, painfully shy and socially awkward back then, stand in front of a few dozen people at another friend's holiday party, most of whom were complete strangers. And he insisted I had to close my eyes and start reciting this long, stupid speech about what a wonderful friend he was. Big surprise, having just lost my mother a few days before, I was emotionally fried, and I started crying in front of all those strangers. Did wonders for my anxiety in the moment, let me tell ya. And what did my dear hubby do? He scolded me to just do what his friend wanted because you know how he is. He won't let it go until you do it, so just do it already. Not one single word to his friend in defense of me, not during, not after. And that's just one of the really big examples, but there's so many more smaller ones through the years. So many examples of how neither my physical or emotional pain means anything to him. My dad died a couple summers ago. In the several months after, I kept trying to talk about it. About anything relating to my dad. There was a seriously complicated relationship there, with my big sister being treated as the golden child my whole life. I really needed to talk. And what did hubby do? Shut me down with crappy lame jokes. Every single time. I tried to talk, except for one, where he was watching one of the shows on Judge TV, which he'll cheerfully pause the TiVo recording so that he can babble at me about whatever BS theory he has about the case, and how clearly one side is going to win, even though he paused before one side had even presented their case yet. During one of those shows, I tried to talk, and he flat out told me to shut up because he was trying to listen to the show. And then, after refusing to be the slightest bit emotionally present for me, what does he do? Well, we'd been planning a vacation close to our 25th anniversary, and he decided that instead of being a second honeymoon, we had to bring my sister along, because, in his exact words, her dad just died. Her dad. Yeah, that was how he phrased it. And I can't even talk to him about any of this because he starts yelling the millisecond he perceives anything as criticism. I'm not even allowed to finish saying a full sentence. I stay up later than him most nights, and he thinks I play video games, but mostly I just sit there on the couch and I cry until I feel like I can go to bed safely without waking him up with my crying. And there's a part of me that despises myself for even wanting to complain because technically my needs are being met: food, shelter, water, electricity. But after so many years of making him the center of my existence, I feel like a hollowed-out shell. I'm empty inside from giving him all my love through all these years and not getting jack shit emotionally in return. I had a chance at making a real career out of a job that I had, and I had to step away from that because hubby needed me there outside of work to help him through a lot of medical stuff he was going through. And I didn't even question it, just walked away from that opportunity because he was the most important thing in my life, not some stupid job. He, on the other hand, has often shown that he's not willing to put anything on hold to help me with medical stuff or anything else. The worst part is, I still love him a lot. Every time I think about walking away from him, I start crying again. But I've hit this point where I just don't think I can endure anymore. Literally, the only thing I want to take with me if I leave is a notebook that's safely stashed in my desk from years ago, from back in the days when phone messages didn't transfer when you switched phones. So when I got a new phone, I handwrote all these sweet little poems that he used to text me. Back in the days when he still loved me, or at least was invested in pretending. I don't even know which it is. But right now, that's literally the only thing that I feel like I want to save out of our entire life together. So there's my misery for you to pass judgment on. Am I totally an irrational, over-emotional asshole if I just leave? He has health issues, and I do worry that he won't be okay without me taking care of him. But I just can't keep tending to him while I feel like my own heart is withering and dying. Would it be wrong for me to go?